Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to Del Mar for a really good Saturday afternoon of racing. I'm Kurt Hoover, along with my friend Tom Quigley. And Tom, we've got a stakes triple header, a couple of the most prestigious races running to meet the San Diego Handicap. The Bing Crosby is a grade one, and the old school Daisy Cutter right in the middle.
You mentioned the Big Crosby. That's a win in you're in for the Breeders' Cup Sprint as well. Yeah. So we've got some East Coast invaders kind of testing the West Coast racing surfaces because the Breeders' Cup, of course, will be held here the first weekend in November. Good gambling card yesterday, like you said. Good gambling card again today.
Yeah, good challenging races today. The pick six paid over $11,000 yesterday, so we start from scratch, races 6 through 11. As you can tell, I've got a nice breeze blowing in off the Pacific, clear skies overhead, fast and firm. Tom, what do we do in the opener?
In the opener, obviously, right now, Broski is the even money favorite. But you know what? I've had a little bit too much of Broski. Has run nine times in his career with 8 seconds or third. So he's a little bit camera shy. He looks to be the only controlling speed. His last race by our speed figure, it exceeds the par for this level. So I understand why he's getting wagered. I just think there's a little bit more betting value on number 4, the Invader from Keeneland in the Leonard Paul barn. Tempest Volée, a ship and wing candidate. Those races back at Keeneland, particularly over a yielding surface, had some real high-quality animals in that race card. There were actually 2 next-out winners as well. I'll put Tempest Volée on top. I'll also take a little bit of a price to round out the exacta trying to beat Broski. That would be number 5. Prank Zappa has some good works off that layoff for trainer Carla Gaines. She hasn't hit the winner's circle yet this meet, but she does an excellent job. Her horses always look well in the paddock. I'll make the lid lifter 4-5 and try and beat the favorite.
To that point, her horse in the stake yesterday ran second, looked like $1 million in the paddock.
Hot girl walk.
Right, and ran a really good race. I took a shot with a 6, but I'm looking at the tote board right now. The horse is completely dead on the board. Jabillion for Jonathan Thomas of Bourne. I really like. The dam was a stakes winner on the turf. First full, strictly a guess, but the board says no. So maybe we'll regroup on that one, Tom. On to race number 2, pick 4 time. Take out the 1. Class of Jameson is also out, and put Demur on the 10 special club. What do we do in race 2?
This is one of those races, Kurt, where I think you could really go a lot of different ways. I'm going to go to the far outside with number 12, Captain Sparrow, second off the long layoff. I mentioned this angle on last week's seminar. Mark Glatt, second off the long layoff, does extremely well. You can see it on the bottom of Captain Sparrow's PPs. Also, the waiver claim still in effect. I'm sure most horse players know. Now it's 2 races off the long layoff, not just the first race back. So
if you don't win.
Exactly right. Yeah. They're able to protect this 5-year-old.
Great rule.
Exactly. Protect the owners and pay back their investment. 5-year-old gelding with just 6 lifetime starts. Here's one of the reasons why I like Captain Sparrow, besides the turf to dirt and the long layoff angle. He's been working in company with some of Mark Glatt's really good runners. Before his comeback race, he was working in company with Watsonville. Since his comeback race, he's been working in company with Elwood Blues. Both of those would dominate this field. It's a lot of different ways you could go because there are a lot of long layoff runners. I'll go with Captain Sparrow on top. I also like number 9, who is, if I can turn the page here in the wind, the Brian Corner layoff runner, number 9, Wild Recruit. Last time out, took the blinkers off and showed really good speed out of the gate. We haven't seen this horse since November, but I always love these Nyquist runners, even at a cheaper level. I'll make the second race, Kurt, 12-9.
I'm with you, Tom. I picked the 12, Captain Sparrow. I thought he needed his last race on the turf. Comes back quick. I love the waiver claiming rule. I like the outside post. So Captain Sparrow on top for me. And then self-sufficient. First start as a gelding with Kimura. Tom, before the meet, my pick to click was Kazushi Kimura. A little bit of a slow start, but he's got rolling this week.
A couple of wins this week already.
Yeah, he's a very, very talented
and an excellent
rider.
agent, Brian Beach.
Yes, one of the best in the business. A real agent.
Exactly.
12-7. He can buy me a glass of wine for us saying that. Third race, take out the 9, Yo-Yo Mama, and scratch the 11. What do you do here in the third on the grass?
Third is a split of race 5, so you'll see the exact same conditions. This is a little bit of a difficult race to handicap, at least for me, Kurt, because there's so much early speed in the race. I'm going to take a shot with a horse who I think is going to like this 5-furlong distance. I should say the filly, and that's number 6, Darling Tammy. Last time out, I think you know this, Kurt, because you follow Los Alamitos so much, both in the nighttime and the afternoon. A lot of runners either love Los Alamitos or dislike Los Alamitos.
For sure.
And you can benefit from that. The last race, the Darling Tammy kind of threw in a clinker. I'm willing to excuse that. She was actually bet down from a 4-1 morning line. Like I said, she does have speed. There's other speed in the race, but her 2 turf races are excellent. She finished second in a maiden special weight race, and then actually finished third in another maiden special weight at Santa Anita. Like I said, I think the cutback in distance is going to help her. And number 10, Goodnight Nelly is the real interesting runner to me in this particular race. I think Jorge Parabon caught Andy Mathis with his hand in the cookie jar because he dropped this runner in for 25, and there was Jorge with a claim slip. Now puts first time on the turf. Not necessarily a strong move for the Parabon barn. They haven't won doing that over the last 5 years, but still at a price at 12-1. I like Goodnight Nelly, so I'll make race 3, 6, and 10 in that order, Kurt.
You and I are on the same page. I picked Darlin Tammy for all the reasons you said. Going to get a great trip. Her turf races are good. She get a nice stalking trip with Anton Georgie. I thought Summer Lake would run well in for the $20,000 tag, and I'm with you on Goodnight Nelly. Claimed out of that nice win. The dam was a turf winner, so there is some turf pedigree and an outside draw and should be finishing. So I was 6-3-10 in race number 3. On to race number 4. All right, a baby race here with some highly touted, highly regarded, expensive horses. What do we do in this one?
Including number 8, Brand. Take a look at that purchase price. It was an all-time purchase price for a 2-year-old at Ocala. $3 million bought by the Zidane Racing Stables and, of course, trained by Bob Baffert. Flavian Pratt in town to ride, and I'm sure one of the reasons why he came out was to ride Brent. But we know that he's going to get overbet, right? He's 3-1 on the Moray line. There's no chance he's going to be 3-1. I expect when the wagering opens for him to be 4-5 or somewhere in that range. I love Gun Runner as a sire, but when you spend $3 million, Kurt, I don't think you want to win going 5.5 furlongs. You're buying a classic type of horse, hopefully a Kentucky Derby horse. Not to say he can't win, but at the same time, I think he's going to be overbet, and that's why I'm going to try and play against him. Just a quick pedigree note. The dam of Brand has thrown 1 foal. Both of his wins were around 2 turns. There was 1 win on turf at Ellis Park, and also 1 win on dirt going 2 turns at Horseshoe, Indiana. So, and another quick point, Kurt. Hijazi, who we're going to see later on in the card, they spent $3.5 million for him. When he debuted, he finished 4th in his debut. So just because they spend a lot of money on these very talented runners doesn't mean they're necessarily going to win first time out, particularly at a short price. Having said all that, I'm going to lean to number 4, Civil Liberty. I like his 3-4 furlong works. 3 of his last 4 are very, very good. They paid 21 times the stud fee. Granted, they didn't spend $3 million, but Independence Hall has had 11 first-time starters. None of them have won yet, but the dam does have 1 foal, and that foal actually won first time out. I like the inside draw. Civil Liberty could get first jump on Brent. I've seen the workout videos on Brent. He's incredibly talented. He's just going to be underlaid, in my opinion. 4-8 for me in the baby race.
4-8 for me, the same thing, Tom. I like the pedigree on Civil Liberty. The dam retired a maiden, but as you noted, 1 winner was a debut winner. Something I've noticed, Tom, or maybe I just hadn't noticed it until recently, way more gate works for Doug O'Neill. A lot of gate works. It didn't used to see all those series of gate works, kind of like the way you see the Baffert's big, long series of all gates.
And I think that's why he's doing it, right? He figures out that he has to compete with Mr. Baffert, and no better way to do that than to simulate a race by breaking them from the gate, because Bob does that so effectively.
Yeah.
So sometimes imitation is the best form of flattery.
Interesting race for the babies in race 4. 5th race, take out the 11. Madiha, another tough race. I thought this race could fall a lot of different ways. What do you do here, Tom?
As I mentioned earlier, Kurt, race 5 is split of race number 3. Like you just said, I looked at this race a long, long time. But at the end of the day, I actually settled on a lightly raced 3-year-old, and that would be number 8, Young Love. She came back off a long layoff, added Lasix, and smoked the field. If you take a look at the internal fractions for her, which DRF formulator allows you to do without having to do any sort of mathematical gymnastics. She ran fantastic. Juan Hernandez decides to ride her back. She's not much of a filly. She's a little bit on the tiny side, but that doesn't matter. She's got a lot of early speed. She's drawn outside. I like Young Love on top. And I also like the 5 filly, Kurt, who is Blue Wildcat. Blue Wildcat is very, very camera shy, but I'll tell you what, she puts in a big run every single time. Umberto Rispoli sticks with her. She's going to be a bit of an underlay, but nevertheless, she does have that 1 turf win at this distance that happened up at Golden Gate when she made a ferocious late charge earlier on in her career. But I like Young Love to basically take them wire to wire in race number 5.
I'm going to go for a price shot here, Tom. The 4-horse, Petite Treat. I've always liked this filly. She's tough to ride, and 2 starts back, I thought she had a really bad trip. She had nowhere to run. She was blocked, buried inside. Then she ran okay on the dirt, but I think she's a turf horse. I think she's going to get a better trip today. Christopher Elliott's in town to ride the stake, takes the call. I'm going to take a shot with Petite Treat at a price, and then Young Love for second. She scratched out of the stake yesterday to go here, and she won really nice in her debut. All right, on to the 6th race. It is pick 6 time. What do we do to kick things off? A no carryover. It paid $11,000 and change yesterday.
You know, sometimes, Kurt, when the past performances look so obvious, I really get nervous because a lot of times the Captain Obvious horses do not win. But in this particular case, I've talked about this last week, and this trend kind of continues to hold true so far this meet. Early speed at 1 mile dominates these main track contests down here at Del Mar. And because of that, I think number 2, Issa Court, is the mare to beat. This is her third off a long layoff. She's in for the tag because she broke this condition. She's got early speed. Last time out, she ran against Open. Umberto Rispoli now in the saddle. She was well clear way back at Los Alamitos last year as well. Even though she's a short price at 3-1 on the morning line, I think she's the most likely winner of race 6. I also give a little bit of a look to number 1, Raising Silver, for all the reasons I just mentioned. Has early speed. Now Carla puts the blinkers on. I think that's going to sharpen up her speed even more than what she's shown up to this point. It could be a merry-go-round race. 2-1 for me in race 6.
You and I are on the same page again, Tom. I thought Issa Court would be very tough to beat. Probably a single for me in the pick 6. She's going to control the race up front. She's in for the 20. I thought she ran real well at Los Al, and that was open company. She tried hard. She's getting fit. I like her a lot, and then I thought Nothing Is Forever for second. But you probably saw it the same way I did, Tom. There's a lot of one-paced kind of horses.
Correct.
And this horse is going to get that great soft kind of trick, we think.
As long as they don't duel each other into submission, then we're okay.
Yeah.
It needs to be relatively, soft.
Yeah. 7th race does start the pick 5. Late one yesterday paid well, $1,400 for the late pick 5. Maidens on the grass, and again, Tom, I thought this was kind of a tricky race with maybe some price potential in here.
I agree with you, and I've got a sneaky runner that I want to talk about in just one moment. But before I do, best of luck to trainer Ryan Hansen and his wife Michelle Yu, who trained number 5, Olivia. Olivia, as you well know,
their daughter.
Is their daughter, their firstborn child. So you would hope that this filly, this daughter of War of Will, has some ability.
And her daughter's old enough to give him grief if this filly can't run, so I hope she can run.
Like mother, like daughter.
Yes,
that's for sure.
For sure.
But let's take a look at the runner I do like after kind of doing some investigative work on DRF Formulator. And it would be one of the 2 that are in here trained by Team Yaktinen. It would be the one who is number 9, Remember April. You remember the damn Cordiality, Kurt, who was obviously a tigress, I should say, on the turf. She banked $634,000 in her career. $550,000 of it was earned on the turf. This is her first foal. We talked about this last week. Maybe some barns were using Los Alamitos as a prep to come down here and run for these big prices. Now, they put her in for 50, but the winner was actually a maiden special weight dropper. They were lucky that nobody claimed her because I think today is all systems go. The other Tim Yaktine horse, Soaring Angel, drawn right inside of her, is the more well-bred of the 2. She's a half to Johannes, sired by the red-hot freshman stallion Nix Go. But I like Remember April, who's going to be overlooked by the betting crowd to upset race number 7. I also give a long look to City Lady. We've talked about this actually on last year's seminar. Michael McCarthy in 2023 had 3 debut 2-turn first-time starter winners here at Del Mar, including Formidable Man and Endlessly. 2024 last year, that trend didn't continue. But Michael McCarthy, you can see in this race, named Flavian Pratt in the saddle, 3-1 on the morning line. I respect Michael's ability to get these fillies ready going 2 turns on the turf. 9-7 for me to kick off the late pick 5, Kurt.
You and I are going to win or lose together today, Tom, because you can
it's
see
a lot of weight on a lot of these horses.
I got the 9 horse on top. Remember April, watching her race this morning, she ran so much better than it looked. She was green. She wasn't leveling off. I wrote down green, finished well, galloped out in front. To your point on the damn Cordiality, the interesting thing about Cordiality, too, she was claimed a couple times for $62,500.
And wound up in the teens barn at the end of her career.
Kept winning races,
Correct.
kept going, and she was a definite 2-turn route horse. I think this filly will move way up today. On top of that, 2 next out winners out of that race already. So I'm with you. I picked Remember April on top. Olivia, according to workout reports, has been training very well. Tyler Bays has been working her. Shout out to Tyler Bays, Tom. I thought he's been riding really well this week. He put up a good ride yesterday, put up a good ride on Friday. He's in his zone. He's riding very well.
Colony is deep. It's not just at the top where it's Hernandez, Fresu, and Rispoli. You can go deeper in the Colony and bet with confidence.
9-5 for me in race number 7. Okay, now we get into the stakes triple header. San Diego Handicap is up first. Scratch to 1, Midnight Mammoth. Tom, I just cannot see under any conditions how Nisos loses.
It's funny you say that because Nisos is going to be a single on a lot of players' tickets. And I like Nisos best when we show the graphic at the end of the seminar. Nisos is my only pick in the San Diego Handicap, so I agree with you. However, there is a slight cause for concern, and I'll give you the benefit of why I like Nisos. The cause for concern, Kurt, is Bob Baffert has saddled a favorite the last 3 years in the San Diego Handicap. They've all lost at short odds. Arabian Night last year in 2024 lost at 2-5. Defunded lost at 4-5 in 2023. On Country Grammar lost in 2022 2022 at 2-1. So he's had 3 consecutive years where the betting favorite has been saddled by Bob Baffert, and they've actually been defeated. The good news is I think Nisos is way better than any of those 3 animals, not to take away from them.
But he's better.
He is better. And more importantly, Kurt, today is the day when Bob Baffert wants to find out if he has a Pacific Classic runner and a Breeders' Cup Classic runner. The Breeders' Cup is going to be right here at Del Mar. You can see what he's done. He's put in 3 bullet works. Many have said on Twitter that this horse is training coming into this race like he's going to run against Flightline. That's how much pressure Bob Baffert is putting on this horse to try and have him compete at the highest level. This horse is why Flavian's in town. He's going to be a short price, but I think he's a justifiable single.
Yeah, bingo square, free space. He's just better than these horses. I picked at 2-1 before the scratches, so Midnight Mammoth is out, so let's move on to the Daisy Cutter. Field of 10 in the Daisy Cutter. This race always comes up competitive because it's such a niche group, and 5 furlongs for a $100,000 purse. Good race, Tom. How did you pick this one?
Really good betting race, Kurt. I'm going to lean toward, unlike some of the other races we were talking about, there is some early speed in the race, but for 5 furlongs, there's really only 3 fillies who show any sort of early speed, and I'm going to side with one of those fillies. It's number 2, I'm About to Go, who's now first time in the Leonard Powell barn. Here's the reason why I like her, Kurt. You can see that every time she comes in off a layoff, she hits the winner's circle. Her debut, she won. She came back at the fairgrounds off a layoff and won. And then when she ran here on Breeders' Cup weekend, she actually wound up winning as well. She runs well fresh. That's good enough reason for me. I love the jockey who's on board. He's going to be overlooked by the betting public until he wins some races, but he's an international jockey, a lot like Umberto Rispoli and Antonio Fresu. Number 2, I'm About to Go, is going to be my top selection. And likewise, number 7, Spicy Bug. I think it's a very positive sign that Michael McCarthy brings this 5-year-old mare back into a stakes race. She does very, very well, including winning from the rail when she came off a layoff in May of 2024. I'll make the race 2-7 in the Daisy Cutter, Kurt.
I like the same horse, Tom. Purchased privately by Leonard Powell after that last start. Should get a great trip. Is fast, drawn inside. Pushiness on the outside. Her last couple races, she just hasn't shown a lot of fight. She runs well, but she doesn't fight that last 100, 200 yards. She'll still run well, especially at this distance. So I went 2-10. A lot of price horses I could see getting an exact and try. Those horses can finish a little bit who are 20-1.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really, really good betting card.
Real good race. All right, talking about good races, the Grade 1 Bing Crosby is up next. Field of 9 set to go. I think our friend John Lee's had a tough time because making a morning line, they all look kind of the same. I mean, a 320-1 shots look 20-1. Everybody else, to me, has a chance to win, and they all have positive points and negatives. So how do you sort it out?
And what makes it a great betting race, Kurt, is the invaders from the East Coast as well, right? Because as I mentioned earlier, this is a Breeders' Cup winning you're in race for the Breeders' Cup Sprint. They want to know, A, if they can compete with the West Coast sprinters, and B, if their horses can handle the Del Mar main track. Exactly right. So why not take a shot in a Grade 1 $400,000 race? They really have got nothing to lose. But I need to see a race from all of those East Coast horses before I'm a believer. I'm going to go a little bit on a limb here and try and convince you that number 7, Mabagnik, is the right horse to play in the Bing Crosby. The reason why is he has become a tiger the last 3 times that he's run. What a claim by trainer John Sadler for Ronas Racing. They dipped in. They took him for $80,000, and what do? They put him right in the Grade 1 Bing Crosby. They want to find out what they got, and when he was in the Jeff Mullins barn for his last 2 races, he turned into a different type of animal. I know it's a huge step up in class, but he did beat Hazaji last time out. Mabagnik, my top choice. Number 2, Dr. Venkman. Mark Glad has seen enough of Nisos. He decided not to compete in the San Diego and instead make a audible and run in the Bing Crosby. Dr. Venkman loves this track. He's going to be a relatively short price. 7-2 for me in the Bing Crosby, Kurt. How'd you see it?
Very good race, Tom. I thought Roland, Big Joe, and Dr. Venkman both ran really well. I think it would have been closer if Venkman had a better trip. I'm not so sure he would have beaten him, but I thought it would have been closer. They're both good horses. I picked Roland, Big Joe. He's a horse who's taken a while to come around, but he's going good right now. The biggest plus for me, Tom, is where he drew. I like him drawn towards the outside, and you can see Julian Leperoux, whatever reason, gets along with this horse. He got a lot of run on him in both those races back in Kentucky. I picked him on top. I respect Dr. Venkman. Of the shippers, Tom, I watched Crazy Mason's race a couple times in the True North. To me, he looked like a horse who wasn't really handling the go early on. He was kind of lagging back, not really doing much running. I put sluggish early. Once he picked it up down the lane, he came rolling. 2 next out winners. The winner came back to win the Vanderbilt. The horse who was last came back to win. I think he'll be running late. I don't know if he's good enough, but he'll be running late. So 6-1-2. An interesting race, Tom.
He's a deep closer that drew the rail. That's one of the reasons why I don't like him, to your point. Roland Big Joe drew outside, which is the perfect post position.
Yeah. 11th and final. Closes things out. Another grab bag. I thought you could catch a price here. How do you see this one?
I know that you know plenty about Sam Walensky, who always shows up for the Del Mar Summer Meet.
Sam, whatever. Just as long as Walensky is there, I'm good.
You have to take a long look at any runners trained by Walensky, who ships in from South Florida, and that's a tip-off of who I like best in race 11. Number 2, Adios Cole is my top selection. First-time gelding. This is a race loaded with early speed, and this is a horse who is a deep closer. I like the fact that he's going to have plenty of pace to run at. The long layoff really doesn't concern me because I respect the barn so much. And he's back on Lasix. Besides being a first-time gelding, you can see he hasn't used Lasix in a lot of his stakes races throughout his racing career. Two of his 3 races where he used Lasix, he actually wound up winning those races. I like the fact that they got Juan Hernandez.
It's a big angle, Tom. I paid way more attention to it. The horses go off, and it doesn't really matter. The PPs don't lie.
The lazy man's way of seeing the circle around Lasix for the first time. You have to really pay attention now when they come on or off Lasix, when they come in and out of stakes races.
For sure.
Adios Cole, my top selection of the race. I'm also going to look to the outside with number 9, A Day to Remember, who's a lightly raced son of American Pharaoh, trained by Mark Glatt. The blinkers came off last time. Now they're going 2 turns for the first time. Not my favorite post in the world going a flat mile at Del Mar, but he's got every right to improve. He's improving each and every race. 2-9 for me to close it out in the nightcap.
I don't think we've ever agreed so many times.
That's scary.
I mean, here's 2 on top for me for all the reasons you said. Plus, if he hadn't got DQ'd, he's not eligible for this race. The only reason he's eligible is because he got DQ'd. Gelded, loved the barn, loved the trip he's going to get, so I put him on top. And I thought the import for Sadler showed some value here. Trained well, you get DeMuro, first-time Lasix. By the way, for those wondering where Barrios is, he's at Saratoga, because there's a lot of live mounts he would be on today. He probably would have been on this horse, just so we know where Barrios is.
Can Baeza beat Sovereignty?
I don't know. I think if Baeza ever really puts it all together, yes. But that's an if. I think that's the key question in that race, I think, today, Tom, right?
Sovereignty is a tiger, right? Look what he's done to journalism.
Yeah.
And so he is obviously the leader of the 3-year-old crop. But Baeza, I've been in love with for a long, long time. I'm sure hoping that he can be competitive today and show the real ability and quality he has.
One of the best-looking horses
no doubt
in the
about
country.
It.
For
And
sure
John,
on the grounds here and probably in the country.
And John Sheriff knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Good luck to the West Coast back there at the spa.
Tom, thanks for your time.
Kurt, we'll pull up the Brinks truck if we're both right today.
Let's hope we can do it. 2 days in a row. Can we actually win 2 days in a row? That is allowed, isn't it? Thanks for watching. Back with more in a while.